Hello Potato, and welcome to Just Add Water Wednesday, where today we're going to do part 4, the final part of Self-Heating September, and what a journey it has been. I watch a channel called Dancing Bacons. I've mentioned them before, and I've really always been interested in watching them do videos on self-heating food items, and they at least were very, very hard to find in the US until earlier this year when I found a store that sold a bunch of them. And of course we tried one for the 500 subscriber episode, and it didn't go super well because I think a combination of my completely screwing it up and it being a bit out of date. But for this month I acquired 4 more, and we did another hot pot of the same style we did in the 500 anniversary, and it was better. We did a soup. We did last week probably the most misleading food item I have done in the history of this channel to this point. The instant Szechuan barbecue, which contained like none of the ingredients that looked like on the front of the package, and just two very skimpy, tiny pieces of tofu. And today we're finishing off the month with another non-soup item. Yumei Instant Rice Spicy Tofu Stew with Rice. Made by them, whoever they are. I don't know, I can't read that. But it claims to have both tofu and vegetarian meat in it. So hopefully they'll be a little more generous with the protein than the Szechuan barbecue, which had those 2 very, very skimpy slices of tofu in it. The soup, the fish soup, was actually quite nice. It had some nice, if a little dry and crumbly, nicely flavored, I think was cod in it? I don't remember. It was like 3 weeks ago. Who can remember these things? So this one is a little bit smaller than the others. It's actually quite a bit smaller than the others. And also, interestingly, it has the lowest sodium. So, I mean, last week's, to this point, was the best sodium, having only like 90-something% of your daily sodium in it. The other 2, the better ones, the ones that tasted better and actually looked like what the packaging showed, they were like 200% of your daily sodium each, which is just absolutely horrible for you. This one, by comparison, comes in only 430 calories and only 50% of your daily sodium. It's 1,160 milligrams, so like a gram of sodium. But that's only half of your day. Your day is 2,000 something, so that's actually not awful. I mean, that's not great, but I mean, we've had packet ramens that are, in the 70s and 80s, so it's not really that awful. It's got 8 grams of protein, presumably from all that vegetarian meat and tofu. I mentioned it has a freeze-dried tofu and vegetarian meat, so this should be maybe a little heartier than some of the other stuff. And also has, of course, rice, being a rice dish, and it doesn't have, so all of our self-heating items have had this month have been, the vegetables have all been very, very similar. They've been lotus fruit, which I've come to quite like, bamboo shoots, some type of mushroom, kelp maybe. This one is none of that. This one is predominantly going to be focusing on the fake meat, or the non-vegetable matter. The only veg in here, I think, is actually the dried scallions. Most people call them green onions, but they are really scallions. So, yeah, this one, I have high hopes. It certainly has to be better than last week. That Szechuan instant barbecue tasted fine, but again, had very little resemblance to the package. So, we have instructions here. Tear all the packs from the box. Just tear them out. Just gotta rip. That's our rice pack. There's our tofu. Where's our vegetarian meat? There's more stuff down here. So we do have a spoon, I was wondering. We don't have any chopsticks, looks like. That's fine. We have some chili oil. We have our dried scallions. We have a much smaller, the other 3 heating packs have all been about the same size. This one is considerably smaller, but that makes sense. The box is considerably smaller. And does it say it on here? It doesn't say it on here. I wanted to go one last time to say we now know the Chinese characters for fill line, but it doesn't say that. But I'm gonna guess that line, right? Or is that just where I think it may just be where this rests. But we'll use that as a filament. We just want to like submerge a little bit the heat pack. We've learned that. We've learned things this month. We've learned how to use these instant heating packs. Tear all the packs in the box. Tear the rice pack and pour rice into the smaller side of the tray. So that'll be this one. Pour the tofu, vegetarian meat. Is there a vegetarian? Oh, yes, this is our vegetarian meat. Okay, that's... It says powder package on it, but that clearly is not a powder, and that looks like bash it up. I could make it a powder, I suppose. So pour tofu, vegetarian meat, seasoning, and scallions into the other side of the tray. Add room temperature water to the tofu until it has been covered. So, oh, we do add water to the rice until it's been covered as well. Tear plastic package of heat pack, put into lower box, add cold water. Hot water is avoided to submerge the self-heating bag. Put upper layer on the box after 10 to 15 minutes and enjoy it. I feel like waiting 10 to 15 minutes to put the upper layer on the box is probably a bad idea. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then let it cook for 10 to 15 minutes and assume that's what they meant. And oh, I didn't read the expiration on this. It was like 12/2/23, meaning it's either in date for another like 2 months or it's been out of date for like 7 months. I'm going to assume it's the former because I bought it less than 7 months ago, and hopefully they aren't using the non-American dating format to sell it in the US. But we do have a US label on here, so this actually does appear to have been made for the US market. Who made this? I mean, I'm guessing Yumei is the name of the company. And guessing is all I'll have to do because there does not appear to be any other print on here, like as to where it was made or where it was distributed from. So we'll just go with that. All right, so we need to put our rice in the small package or small section. So it's not going to be mixed together. That's interesting. I guess, on a plate you wouldn't have it mixed together either, right? Well, I mean, it would mix together where it touches, but it wouldn't be mixed together in like preparation. They would be next to each other. So the rice. This is the first one of these we've done with rice. They've all been like noodles up to now, except for last week, which didn't have anything at all. And I'm gonna say it looks kind of like minute rice, like freeze-dried rice. Did it say on the package? Just the rice. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's like a minute rice type of a preparation. So that's to be expected. Let's try our dried tofu, which does not, oh, there it is. It's always on the side where everything is settled now. We had that issue, was it last week, week before? I know we had that issue earlier this month. So you do get a generous amount of the freeze-dried tofu. Hopefully that hydrates well, because that is a lot more tofu than we've had in our previous meal. Let's give it a try. Yeah, tastes like eating the soybean foam. I mean, what would I expect, right? Let's try our vegetarian meat, which is, if you were interested, actually just say the ingredients, what specifically it's made out of. Soybean, vital wheat, gluten, soybean protein, starch, salt, soy sauce, less than 2% of other stuff. I don't think I've ever seen disodium 5-inch or 5-foot ribonucleotide before in things. So that's a new ingredient to me, or at least it's the first time I'm noticing it. Let's try a little bit of our vegetarian meat. Very crunchy. Not an awful flavor, but that's a lot of scallions. This is going to be, I think, probably too oniony for me. I'm not going to, I think that part, go away. I think the scallions are going to be a bit much in this. Hopefully here, our sauce will outweigh this. It does say to put the sauce in, right? Tofu, veggie seasoning, and scallions into, yep. All right. Just to make sure that we're not like screwing anything up by pouring water on this. All right, so our seasoning packet. And they've all been kind of like this month, haven't they? They've all been this kind of, this one's thicker though. This one's more of a paste. The other ones have all been like an oil with like chili chunks in it. This is more of an actual paste. So I guess it's I guess it makes sense. It's going to actually flavor the whole thing. This is going to make our sauce when we add our water to it. And I mean, of course, our dried stuff is going to soak up a lot of that. Ooh, that's very red. All right, well, I guess I'll give it a try since it's on my hand. It's got good flavor. It's got a little bit of a kick to it. Let me try to wipe. That's a lot of oil in there. So, you know, I want to be careful when I put that down because I don't want to stain anything with all that oil. I guess I should have torn the whole top off, and then I could have gotten more of this, the rest of the sauce in there, and made maybe less of a mess. But it's gonna have to do. It's just gonna have to do. All right, so we have everything mixed in together now, and we need to add water to submerge the tofu and the rice. I've got here, may not be quite to room temperature yet, but I think that's good. It is some filtered water for drinking. I'm gonna go all the way to the line on this side. I feel like, because the tofu is gonna float. It's not really gonna submerge per se. All right, so there is our rice. Let's put some water in here. Cold tap water. It's cold, but again, it's probably closer to room temperature now. So go fill that up to that line and break out the heat pack. It's already starting to hydrate a little bit. That's kind of good. Let's get the spoon out of the way because we're going to need to put the lid on hopefully pretty quickly once I put in this heat pack. Right. This is our, yep, it's same as all the other ones. Got that kind of thick cloth feeling on the outside, but just much smaller. Don't confuse this with the hand warmer because I reckon it'll actually burn you quite badly. Let's plop that in the water. Watch it hydrate a second. Wait till it starts to puff up. All right, it is fully hydrated. I saw a bubble. Oh, is it moving? Is it puffing? Yep, it's starting to puff. All right. So let's drop this in place. And nothing's happening. Is it getting warm? It looked like it was puffing up. Oh, wait. There goes, I hear it. Do you hear it? Oh. Yep, there it goes. Get the lid on. And I'm not bothering with the timer this week because it didn't work the last 2 weeks. So we'll just kind of freestyle it. Apparently this is 120 degrees centigrade. Maybe that's like the top temperature it gets to. But yeah, you can hear it sizzling. Or maybe you can hear it sizzling. So I'm going to let that go for the full 15 minutes, and I will see you back when that's over with, which for you will be just a little time it takes for the little thing to loop around the screen. All right, our 15 minutes are up. The steam seems to have pretty much died down from this. So let's see what our Yumei Instant Rice Spicy Tofu Stew with rice looks like when it's all said and done. And it is quite warm. And here we go. So stew is a little thin. Maybe I did put too much water, and I kind of thought things would take up more of that liquid, but I guess that's just so much scallion in there. The tofu, of course, as dry freezer tofu tends to be, is not super tight. It is, I don't know, a little spongy, but like crumbly spongy, like an old sponge that has gotten, so you can see like it's breaking apart there very, very easily. But I mean, it'll probably go nicely with the rice. Let's try I will say it smells really good, and the flies seem to think so too, because while this has been cooking, a ton of flies. They've been keeping away largely from this, but there have been a lot of flies appearing directly around me. It could be something to do with the garden. I don't know. But all right, let's give this broth a try. It's very oily, as you can see there. It smells quite nice. It smells a little black bean. There's black bean in this, right? Let's say it smells a little black bean sauce-ish. Seasoning bag, bean paste, chili powder, black bean sauce. Yep, I think that's what I'm smelling. Interesting flavor. We'll add a little spice to it. If you don't like spice, yeah, definitely avoid this. I mean, mixing with the rice might make it a little better, but yeah, it's got a good amount of heat, nice warming feeling as it goes down, even just having little sips of it. Let's try a little bit of the tofu. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, it's tofu. It doesn't have any real flavor of its own, so it kind of just tastes like a much more intense version of the spice, and just kind of absolutely falls apart in your mouth. Here's some of our vegetarian meat. Give that a try. Chewy. Definitely got a meaty texture. I won't say there's much of a meaty flavor, but it definitely does have that chewy, meaty texture to it. So that's good. Honestly, I was really worried with that much scallion. This would be very oniony, but it's not bad. I thought for sure I was going to regret putting all those scallions in there, but I don't. I don't taste like an overwhelming onioniness at all. Let's try a little bit of the rice, see how that came out. You can get a good idea of how red that sauce is. Probably should have fluffed that up a little bit of the rice there. Yeah, it's very thick and cakey. Let's give it a try. It's much chewier than, say, minute rice. But I still feel like that's basically what we have here. It's very gummy. Like maybe I should have put a little bit more water in this, because it's very tightly packed together there. All right, let's try a little bit of it with a little bit of our stew, because I'm assuming that's the intention here, right? Let's get a little more broth in there. All right, give it a try. I think so far, this is the best thing from Self-Feeding September. That's not bad. The adding some of the broth to it completely counteracts the gumminess that I was getting with the rice. Because yeah, the rice is on its own was very gummy. But I don't know, maybe it's just soaking up the broth, or maybe just adding extra liquid into it. Freaking flies is eliminating that. Oh, there's a hair. Wonder where that came from. Probably one of mine. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Definitely will need to mix. The bird agrees. Definitely will need to mix the rice and the soup together, I think. But overall, not bad. And also being the lowest sodium content of any of our self-heating dishes this month, I'm guessing because it didn't have that pickled vegetable packet. I think those pickled vegetables, while one would normally associate vegetables with healthy, I think when you pickle them, and that is like the main source of calories in your dish, it does rather drive the salt up a lot. This, I think, is the only one I would actually consider like getting again. I mean, I enjoyed the fish in the second one, but I also think the second one was like 15 or 20 bucks. I think this one's a little bit cheaper than the other three. It is much lower sodium, and honestly, I think I like it the best. It's got a good flavor. It's got a good amount of heat, but not too much. It doesn't have vermicelli, because I'm not a huge rice vermicelli fan. And I'm fine with tofu, though. And some rice is nice. You know, it's nice to have a rice meal instant and ready to go. Well, not instant, like 15 minutes. I mean, I could actually make rice in the rice cooker and have it take not that much longer. And that would admittedly be better rice, but I suppose if you're like backpacking and you've had a long day on the trail and you want some nice spicy rice and tofu, you could probably do quite a bit worse Or, I mean, if you can't do worse, I would love to try the better. So I guess before the flies do descend upon me, I will take this inside and finish eating it. I hope you found this all interesting or entertaining. If you did, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.